Tip number one. When trying to make a thin cut here on the table saw and you don't have a zero clearance, it's easy to fix that problem, because if you try to do it without a zero clearance, pieces of wood get jammed in there and cause a hazard or kick back on you. So what you need to do is get a piece of plywood, and what I like to do just for safety is take a piece of the painter's tape or any other tape that I have, roll it up, stick it up under the corners there, and what that's going to do is keep that piece of wood in place. So, okay, now if I want to make these smaller cuts here, all I got to do is bring it and so now I can make those smaller strips without them falling in there. Tip number two, use scrap pieces of plywood to make your drawings for whatever you're building. If you're building a tabletop, you can put your measurements all around and you'll have it, and if you're making multiples of it, you can save it and have all the measurements. Even when you're doing turning, you can do life-size pieces. This is a future video. Keep your eye out for it. Right here, and now I can do this over and over again because I've got all the measurements and everything done out. Tip number three, countersink first. Then, get your drill bit and do your drilling through. It acts as a guide at the tip of it, and it makes it a lot cleaner hole. Tip number four, never trust your miter gauge. I use a framing square to make sure it is in the right place and flat to the blade, and I take it down, then you'll know it's right. Number five, take a piece of painter's tape when you need to drill something to a certain depth, but make sure that you put a little flag right here. This flag is for two reasons. Once you start drilling, it's kind of hard to tell where you're at, but as soon as you hit your depth, that tape will push all the sawdust away and you'll know you're at the proper depth. Tip number six, never ever try to rip a piece of wood that's longer than it is wide. What happens is you'll get up here, it'll go through, and if it snags, it'll kick, it'll come back at you, or worse, if you're not using this, you'll go across. Very dear to my heart, not flicking you off, but right there, I ran my finger across the blade because I was doing just that. Tip number seven, always have your blade just above the cut of the wood. This will help prevent the tear out. Tip number eight, always use a push stick, whether it's this kind that comes with your table saw, a third finger. Oh, I'm sorry, that's an 11th finger. Or something you make yourself. Or one of these. This one won't work, okay? These push blocks. Always use a push stick. Tip number 9. Sometimes your miter gauge, you may have to do a few different pieces of wood cuts, and you may have to come out too far. This is not a safe cut. So, as you see, there's little holes in here that you can take. So all you got to do is make sure that you get it over here and put 2 screws in, a little piece of spare. And now, as you do your cuts, you can come through and the cuts will be more safe as you get through to where you need to. Tip Tip number 10. Always keep a small bucket of some sort handy so you can throw all your small scraps in there. This makes it a lot easier to bring out to the fire bin or the trash can at the end of the day.